Welcome back to Startup Nomad. This week I'm here with Xavi Fuentes, and he is the founder of Let's Kick In, which is a crowd gifting platform, and he's also an organizer or former organizer of Startup Weekend in Barcelona. But now he's living in London, so hopefully he'll be able to tell us a little bit about the differences between the entrepreneurial ecosystems in those two cities. So welcome, Xavi. Thanks so much for being here today.
Hi there. Thank you. Thank you, Kate, for inviting me.
So maybe we could start out with you giving us a little bit of your background and telling us how you ended up in the world of entrepreneurship.
Okay, well, I just started a few years ago when I always had quite a few ideas, but crazy ideas most of the time. So I met a guy who told me about some events related with entrepreneurial ecosystem in Barcelona. So I just get in touch with the organizers, started to getting involved, and after a few months I was organizing the startup weekend in Barcelona with David, the other organizer. So it was just by chance, totally. So, but yeah.
Gotcha. And so then what took you away from Barcelona and over to London?
Well, as you said, I founded a startup last year called Let's Kick In, but things didn't go as good as I expected. So by the end of the year, I was just absolutely broke. So I just had to fire 3 people. I needed jobs, so I thought about starting from the scratch, getting going back to where I began as I'm a web developer. Mm-hmm. So I just looked for a job. I got the opportunity to come here to London, so I just came. Gotcha.
So could you tell me a little bit about, I'm not sure how involved you are in the startup scene over there in London, but could you tell me a little bit about sort of the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Barcelona and maybe how it's the same or different from that in London?
Basically, it's the same. So there are the same players. I mean, VCs, startups, entrepreneurs. So it's basically the same, but the main difference is the size. I mean, London has a huge ecosystem, entrepreneurial ecosystem. So as I only see this difference, size. Everything is bigger here. Mm-hmm. More money, more VCs, more entrepreneurs. 10 times the startups. Everything is huge here.
Gotcha. And do you think Barcelona is headed in that direction? Is it growing here, or is it always going to stay smaller?
I think definitely both are growing, but I think quite a few years Barcelona is going to be maybe not the first one, not the same level as London, but yeah, I think in Barcelona we are going to be able to compete with Berlin, maybe being the second city with the biggest entrepreneurial ecosystem in Europe. Okay. But yeah, definitely it's growing. Barcelona, and it's growing very, very fast. It's fastest growing entrepreneurial growing in Spain for sure. So you only have to look at our last startup weekend. More than 30% of our attendees were in Spanish. So it was the first startup weekend in English in Barcelona. It was quite a huge challenge for us. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was an absolutely success. Was the biggest startup weekend in Spain by far. So it's definitely growing and fast.
So is a lot of the growth then, since the startup weekend was in English, that would imply that there are foreigners that are participating in the ecosystem here in Barcelona. Is that accurate?
Can you say that again, please?
Sure. Since you said the startup weekend was largely in English, that would imply that there were a lot of non-Spaniards participating. So is some of the growth that you see in the ecosystem in Barcelona due to foreigners moving to Barcelona?
Definitely. Barcelona is a great place to live. I think you already know that. But yeah, definitely a lot of people coming from out of Spain is giving us, and I say us to Barcelona inhabitants, a lot of different points of view and teaching us step by step how to do things better, I guess. So
Gotcha.
yeah, definitely thanks to foreign people.
And what do you think it is that's attracting the foreigners to Barcelona? Is it just the city itself, or is it about the startup scene?
We've got a couple of great startups in Spain, and I say couple because the problem in Spain is that they're not enough projects to invest in. So the startups, I mean, you can talk about Cantox, for example, is the main example I'm thinking about right now, or Social Point, for example, in gaming, social gaming. They reach some kind of top that they have to leave Spain, and it's because it's smaller. So, but answering your question, I think the city has a lot to say about the foreigners that are coming here to live. But yeah, the ecosystem is giving us a lot of new chances to the entrepreneurs there. So I think it's both the city, and they see a lot of energy, they see a lot of people just with a lot of new ideas and a lot of energy basically to grow and build new stuff.
Mm-hmm. And is the government, either the local government or the larger government, and I know there's some politics about Spain versus Catalonia and whatever, but is there government support of entrepreneurship, or has this all been more of a private, the entrepreneurs and investors are building up the ecosystem themselves?
Yeah. This is a special thing because, for example, in London there are a lot more help from the government, for example. So, but not in Spain. I think this is probably the slowest part is growing because the government thinks more in terms of big companies, not that startups. It's something new for us as Spain as a country. I mean, all the entrepreneur culture is very, very new to us. So we could say we're on a seed stage of entrepreneur ecosystem. So the government is not yet as involved as we would like to. And the problem is that the different institutions that could help, they go on their own. So they don't. It would be awesome if everybody could just push in the same direction. You know what I mean? So I think I see this particular thing a lot more here in London, but not in Spain. So.
Gotcha. And I know that you kind of already answered this, but I'm going to ask again in a little bit more specific way. You said that the ecosystem is growing here, and you think you could eventually get to be sort of on par with, say, Berlin. But where do you think Barcelona's entrepreneurial ecosystem will be in 5 years from now or 10 years from now?
As I said, just competing directly with Berlin or even with London, definitely. Definitely. So, leading the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Spain for sure, and becoming one of the most important and powerful ecosystems in Europe.
Gotcha. So, what advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs?
Sorry?
What advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs?
I would say jump. It's a very simple concept. Jump. Don't think about it. Just do it. Fall. You have to try.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kate.
Did you find this video helpful or fun? Then share it with a friend who you think would benefit from the dish, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Facebook and subscribe to my channel on YouTube so you never miss any of the latest tips, tricks, and tutorials to help your business grow. And you get to see my adventures through the wide world of entrepreneurship and how I use the freedom running my own business gives me. Also, remember to head over to katecosta.com so you can get in on the conversation about how to build your business to success so you can live your life your way.